Vampus and his minions have raided Figgyville, stolen all the villagers' pressies, and decapitated the Starosta. It is evil beyond compare, so the Baron and his specialist unit have been called in to save the Yuletide celebrations and retrieve the errant body part. This is the final scenario in the Advent adventure. The unit has crossed the Dead Marshes, wended their way through the labyrinth, and are now entering Vampus's lair. They're led by Baron Igor Jerkov. He has great faith and is inspiring. Known only as the priest, the unit's champion of faith has miracles and is a supernatural veteran. He carries a holy symbol. Ivan the Impaler is a veteran hunter and he's hard to put down. Molotov is a sapper and Plonker some infantry fodder, and that is all that's left of the unit through this adventure, with the Cossack Urinator and Boris the Bear falling by the wayside. During the march from the labyrinth to Vampus's lair, it has snowed and it's set the scene for a lovely Christmas day. Here's the unit on the edge of the glade, the Baron and Molotov on the right and the rest of the gang on their left. They're looking across and they can hear some raucous laughter from the minions as they dance around their fire. They've made a snowman, they've decorated a Christmas tree, and the remains of the raid are strewn around. This is what the unit is after. All the discarded pressies. There's the mausoleum where Vampus will be hanging out. And the unit need to be quick about it. It is Christmas Day. They need to get the pressies and the Starosta's head, kill Vampus, and then get back to Figgyville. First to activate for the unit will be Molotov. He will move forward here and sprint all out of line of sight of the minions at the moment, so it's good news. And he does. And over with the other group, Ivan will move first. He'll come up here to the hedge, and I think he's just going to stay there. Minions are out of sight, so they will not be moving. Next up is Plonker. He will go over here. The priest will come up behind Ivan, and finally the Baron will follow on behind Molotov, and he'll try and sprint, which he doesn't do, but he'll move up there. So here's Ivan, the priest, and Plonker just creeping up the hedges here. They can hear and just about see the minions, so the next move could be critical and they'll start swinging into action. First to activate this turn is Ivan, and he will run straight for that big bag of pressies. Picked up the 10. Well, can you believe it? The bloodied head of Figgyville's Starosta. This figure must take a terror check at -2. We also get a rackborn 3 inches away from this clue marker. So the terror check will be -2 for the horror of the head. He's +1, but he also gets +1 because the Baron is so close, so it's net 0. 8. Stunned. And that means the activation ends immediately. Well, it had already, so no problem there, but -1 to all checks until the end of its next activation. And next to move is the Baron, and he is going to go straight into that rackborn. Now, fortunately for the Baron, he's got the Hussar aftershave on, which means that all his melees are blessed, and unfortunately for Rackborn, they are allergic to blessed. So it's +2 melee for the Baron. 13, 15. They have a defense of 12, so that's a hit for 4 damage. And the Rackborn will fight back at +1. 6 is a miss. Baron has to back away. Unfortunately for the unit, the minions have now heard what's going on. They've seen them, and they're going to storm in. Or indeed swarm in. Plonker's up now. He's going to come around the side of the hedge and the tree, and he will sprint in for Rackborn, I think, which he does. So Plonker's +1 melee. 8 is a miss. Rackborn will fight back. Net 0 because of that fatigue, and that is a miss as well. So Plonker will have to back away. It's the priest now. He will storm into Rackborn, who is weakened by faith. The priest has his red scarf on, so it's also blessed melee weapons. He's +1. That's 12, 13. He's a hit for 6 damage, and old matey has gone. And finally Molotov will move up here and will open fire at this minion. Net 0 because he moved. Miss. End of turn event. 1. That swarm comes out of the mausoleum. Next round, Molotov is up. He will reload and go straight into that first minion. So first of all, because the minion is hypnotic, does he actually make it? Needs a courage check at +1. No, he doesn't. Next up is the priest. Well, he'll go straight into that bat swarm. They are allergic to fire, and the old priest has some oil and torches. So it's +1 melee. 18, 19, 8 points of damage, and the bat swarm's gone. He only had 4. Well done, the priest. So now it's on to the minion swarm. This chap goes straight into Molotov. He's +1 melee. 16, 17. That's a hit for 6 damage. Ooh dear. Can't do a lot about that. Molotov will fight back. He's on +1 melee. 13. Ooh, unlucky. The little minion is 14 to hit. So, minion backs away. Next minion zooms into Baron. +1. Miss. Baron will strike back. +2. 19. 9 damage. Minion is smashed. Well, the other minions, seeing their mate being carved up by the Baron, are going to focus their efforts on Molotov. So next one, zooms in. +1. That is 12, that's a miss. Molotov will fight back, net 0. 12, that's a miss. Minion backs away. Now this chap here is the minion foreman, so he's slightly better. He's on a +2 melee. With 12, that's still no good. And Molotov will fight back at -1. And that's a dreadful miss. Minion foreman backs away. The last minion here comes in on Molotov, +1. 12, no, not quite. Molotov strike back at -1. That's 14. Oh, that's just a hit for 10 damage. Ooh, he's been carved up, squashed to bits. And of course he had his heavy weapon, so he's caved his skull in. Final minion zooms in, wanting revenge. But he misses. Molotov fight back, -1. 11, 10, no, that's a miss. And that minion backs away, so Molotov did a good job there. Well, next to activate is the Baron. He will swing around and move in on the foreman. +1 melee because he's fatigued. And that's a miss. Foreman strikes back at +1. And that is a miss as well. So the Baron will have to back away. I did forget to roll for him to close with the hypnotic stuff, but he was in anyway. Right. Next is Ivan. He will go for the foreman. Can he get there? Yes, he can, just. +3 melee. 15, 18 is a hit for 10. And that is minion foreman gone. And next to activate is Plonker. And he is going to go for this prezi over here. He will sprint, which he does. What's he found? A dual encrusted silver dagger. This figure's attacks will count as silver for the rest of the scenario. Well, he's already got a silver fork from the labyrinth, so he'll have to hand this one over to somebody else. Well, that's the end of turn there. These little minions are getting carved up by the unit. They're not actually that strong, so hopefully Vampus will be able to wake up and give the unit a bit of a kicking in a minute. End of turn event. 6. Hoo-hoo, speak of the devil. And Vampus appears. He's not happy seeing this marauding unit. He will exact his revenge. Okay, first to activate is the Baron. He's just going to come around the wall here and aim with one of his pistols because he's got silver shot. So he's net 0 because he moved. That's 13. But Vampus defense is 15, so that's a miss. Next up is Ivan. He's going to go straight for that minion. Right, first of all, let's see if he gets past the hypnosis. He does with 15. He's on +3 melee, which is 17. That's a hit, 10 damage. Oh, sorry matey, you are crushed. Right, well that one will swing around immediately. +1. Wow, that's a massive hit. 18, 19, 10 points of damage on Ivan. But of course, Ivan is hard to put down, so I'm going to use a skill dice to see what we can negate. 9, so he only takes 1 point of damage. Ooh, lucky. Vampus will storm into the priest. Unfortunately, he's going to get weakened by faith.
So Vampus' melee attack is net 0 because he's +3 but -3 because of the weakened by faith. 10 is a miss. And the old priest will fight back. He's got a plethora of weapons here. He's got a silver hand weapon and he's got his red scarf on. So either of those will give old Vampus something to think about. +1. 14, 15, which is just enough to hit Vampus, and that's 6 damage. And he has to back away. And this final little minion, I forgot about him. He'll close in with Molotov. He's +1 melee. Dreadful miss. Molotov will smash back with his heavy weapon. But also a miss, and the minion will back away. Well, next to activate is the priest, and he's going to go straight back at Vampus. First of all, he's got to get past the hypnosis. Needs 12. Doesn't get it, so actually, priest doesn't make it. Plonker is going to sneak around the rear of this wall and go straight for Vampus. He's got his silver hand weapon. +1. 18 for 9 points of damage. That's a hefty hit. Vampus' health drops to 5, but he'll swing round and give Plonker a good kicking. +2 melee because he's fatigued. But that's not good enough. That's 11. And Plonker backs away, laughing. Final activation is Molotov. He's going to rush the minion. Can he get there? Yes, he can. He's on net 0 because of fatigue. 11 is a miss. Minion will strike back. Also net 0. And that's a miss. And Molotov will have to back away. Well, that's another good round for the unit. These minions are virtually finished off. And poor old Vampus is getting a good old smack in there from the priest and Plonker. He's down on 5 health. Where is Mrs. Vampus? End of turn event. 6. Wow, can you believe it? Well, can you believe that? There she is, popped out of the mausoleum, see what all the fuss is about, sees these ghastly Serebryanyy Shtyk geezers, and wants to put the boot in along with hubby. First to activate is Plonker. He hasn't got silver shot, so he's going to go straight into Vampus with his fork. +1 melee. 12, 13, that's not good enough. Vampus has +3. 13. Plonker's defense is 13. That is 2 damage, and it's a soul shear. So that's a terror check -2. Oh my lordy, that's 3, but he does have courage of +1, so that's going to be 4. Paralysed. So his activation ends immediately. Can't move and take an action until the next time it activates. Fine. Every activation after that needs a courage check at 14. Oh dear. Well, I guess he backs away as well. Well, the Baron's up now. He's going to reload and get straight into the misses. Now, because he's got his Hussar aftershave, it counts as blessed melee. And old Mrs. Vampus is allergic to that. So it's +2. 10, 12, miss. Mrs. Vampus will strike back. 12. She's got a +3, 15. That's a hit. The Baron's defense is 14. 8 damage. Ooh, hefty. He's down on 5 health. More importantly, it's a soul shear with 8, which is -5 because of the Baron's courage. 10. Distracted. He gets a -1 until next activation. Well, I think he's got away with that one. The Baron backs away. Well, let's do some minion action first. This chap will run in on Ivan. +1. Miss. Ivan will strike back. +3. That is 13, 16. That's a kill. Sorry, matey, gone. And this chap will rush in on Molotov. They are pretty useless, these people. +1. What is that? 11, 12. Not good enough. That's a miss. Molotov will strike back at +1. 16, 17, 8 damage. 9 damage because of heavy weapon. Crushed. Minions have been pulped. However, Vampus here has got a sad on and goes steaming into the priest. So this is -1 because of weakened by faith and fatigue. 12, 11. Not good enough. Priest will strike back. +1. 11, 12. Not good enough. Vampus backs away. And looky here, Mrs. Vampus comes in and strikes the Baron. +2. 14 is a hit for 2 damage and soul share of 2. Baron's on 3 health. This is not good. So this is a terror check at +1. 9, 10. And old matey gets a -1 for the rest of the activation, and Mrs. Vampus has to back away. Ivan, what are you up to, mate? You're not doing anything over there. Right, he will steam in to Mrs. Vampus. There he goes. First of all, can he get there because of the hypnotic effect? No, he can't. Oh dear. Now it's the priest. He will engage Vampus if he can. 14, yes. So he steams in. +1 melee. 16 is a hit. It's 10 damage. And I'm sorry, mate, your Christmas is over. And final activation is Molotov, and he will make his way over to this clue marker. You got the Queen. A half-melted crucifix. This figure counts as having a holy symbol for the rest of the scenario. However, place a rack-born next to a random clue marker. And there he is. He's guarding one of these pressies. And that's Molotov over there. Right, end of turn event. 9. Uh-oh, a large clap of thunder. All figures make a terror check at -2. It's a bit scary out here. So Blanca first to be -1. He passes it okay. The priest, +2. He's okay. The Baron, +1. He's okay. Ivan, he actually gets net 0 because the Baron's there. He's okay as well. And on his lonesome over here, old Molotov, what does he get? He's fine as well. Ooh, well, thunderclap wasn't that scary. Okay, first to activate on this turn is the priest, and he will swing round and get in on Mrs. Vampus. He's on +1 melee. That is 12. That's not good enough. Mrs. Vampus will strike back at net 0. She's weakened by faith, but that's a hit. It's 9 damage. Priest drops to 2 and reels away. Next up is Molotov, and he'll move over here, and he's going to sprint, which he doesn't do, so he can't engage the Rackborn. Mrs. Vampus has got a bazzy on. Who does she go for? The priest, the Baron, or Ivan? Well, she doesn't like the look of him. She's going for Ivan. +3 melee. Oof, crunching hit. I mean, that's 20 with 10 points of damage. So that is Ivan on 2 health. Now, before we get to soul share, I think I can do a damage reduction through hard to put down. So the last skill die is 10. Can you believe it? So that's no effect. However, this soul share is -10, -9 because of his courage. 5. Shaken. Old matey gets -1 for the rest of the scenario. I think that's extremely lucky. Over here, the Rackborn will get in on Molotov. +1. 12 is a miss. Molotov strike back, also +1. That is 16, 17, 10 points of damage, 11 with his heavy weapon. But old matey has been crushed. Ivan the Impaler, he's up now. He will steam into misses. So he's +3 melee, but he's fatigued, so it's +2 on this roll. And that's a miss. Vampus misses will fight back. +2. And that's a miss as well. Right. So he backs away. But Baron is going to crash straight in. He's +2. He's got his Hussar aftershave. He's blessed. Crunching 20. 8 points of damage, misses. She reels from that. She's on 6 health. Fights back. +2. Miss. Word on the Baron. Backs away. So Plonker is the last to activate of the unit. He's in the rear of the Mrs. Vampus, and he's going to give her a right kicking in the back. Steams in. He's +1. He's got his silver fork. But that's a dreadful miss. Mrs. Vampus will turn around and see what she can do about that. She's +2. 12, 14. Hit. 6 damage. Plonker's on 3, but has to do a soul shear at -6. -5 because of his courage. And that's 3. And that's old Plonker paralysed. He needs to do a check of 14 every time he tries to activate. End of turn event. 6, well that's Mrs. Vampus or Vampus if they haven't already appeared and they're already on the table, so no event. Next turn. Right, first up is Molotov. He'll go and find what that little prezi is. Well done, Lemmy. He's got a bottle of port. This figure will gain a +1 courage for the scenario, and we also get another power die. Well, that's useful. And over here, they're swarming around Mrs. Vampus. Ivan's up now. He's going to close in. +3 melee. 12. Miss. Mrs. Vampus. She will turn around. +3. 12, 15. Hit. 10 damage. Now, hard to put down. We're going to have to use that last skill die they picked up. Has to. Takes 4 off. 6 damage. He's down to 6. So he's doing a -5 on the soul shear roll. And 3 is not good enough. He collapses in a heap. Disaster for the Serebryanyy Shtyk. Ivan the Impaler, the veteran hunter, has gone. And Mrs. Vampire's up now. She's going to go straight into the Baron. +2. 11, 13 is not good enough. Baron's defense is 14. He will fight back. +2 melee. 14. Not good enough. Vampire's defense is 15. So she'll have to back away. This is ding dong at the moment. It's horrific for the unit. However, Champion of Faith moves in. He's got a Bazzy on. He's seen Ivan go down. He's not happy. He's got +1 melee, which is 18. Hit, 7 damage. And that is enough to finish off Mrs. Vampus. She has gone. Well, there we go there. Can you believe it? The Serebryanyy Shtyk have just about vanquished Vampus and Mrs. Vampus from their lair. And they've picked up, well, they're going to pick up that little goodie in a memento. They found all the pressies. They got the Starosta's head. They've killed Vampus and Mrs. Vampus. Christmas is coming home to Figgyville. Hallelujah and ding dong.